Hey, it's been a while since I've last uploaded. Sorry about that, guys. I've been super busy with life lately and too tired to make videos. I'm hoping that'll change soon, but right now you'll have to settle with me dipping my toes back into YouTube because something horrible has happened again in the world of PC gaming. Yeah, I know. What else is new? For your sake, I hope that if you're even remotely interested in PC gaming, that you upgraded in some fashion over the past couple years, or are otherwise totally satisfied with what you've got for the foreseeable future. I already made a video a few months ago about how bad of a value proposition gaming on PCs has become compared to 10 to 15 years ago when it was really the no-brainer over consoles. This was due to the ongoing situation around graphics card pricing ballooning beyond control and eclipsing what used to be the budget for the entire computer. Compare this to consoles, which, when pitted against launch prices of previous generations, adjusted for inflation, are not particularly eye-watering as much as some people like to make it out to be. Yes, video cards already ruined the party, but what I certainly hadn't predicted was that we were in for an even more ridiculous blow to PC building, and honestly this time we're going to see a bigger ripple effect throughout electronics pricing than what a graphics card could ever do. If you've been living under a rock the past month, you may not be aware of what's happened to RAM pricing. That's right, the component that is usually a budgetary afterthought, traditionally the cheapest component in your PC, is now just about worth its weight in gold. And yeah, I do know what's happening to the price of gold, too. Here's a hefty kit of DDR5 RAM I treated myself to earlier this year in March. It's a relatively large 64 gigs, and I thought I would splurge a bit and pay 300 Canadian dollars, which I consider to be a lot of money for a kit of RAM at the time. Yeah, here's the listing on Amazon for the exact kit that I have in my PC today. It's going for over 4 times what I paid earlier this year. That's what I paid for my entire high-end gaming PC in 2013 in my first year of college. It's gotten so bad that even Nvidia, the most valuable company on earth, has stopped selling their board partners RAM for their graphics cards, instead just supplying GPU dies and telling them to figure it out for themselves. Think about that for a moment. The reason Nvidia sold RAM in the first place to board partners was to make a bit of margin on that transaction, but things have gotten so dire they've decided to just not even bother anymore. At this point, I wouldn't recommend anyone build a PC now, or next year, or maybe even the year after that. And if you are betting on Valve swooping in and saving the day with their Steam Machine Cube PC thing that they just recently revealed, you've got another thing coming. They'll be subject to the same rising parts costs as anyone else, and it too will be just another pricey thing you won't be able to justify purchasing. I'd like to remind you that the Steam Machine was never intended to be a high-end system either, just a semi-affordable pre-built in a small package that could run games well enough. If the bill of materials shoots the MSRP up too high, then it stops making sense in the market. So why is this happening? Well, it's not actually that complicated, but I want you to stay with me here because I think I have a more nuanced take than most people I've seen discussing this, so please hear me out. First and foremost, the world is collectively building a ton of AI data centers as well as non-AI data centers, but those don't get as much attention as the big glowing headline that everybody likes to scream at. Big data centers are filled with more servers than you can possibly imagine, and those servers, like your PC at home, need RAM. So companies like Microsoft, OpenAI, Google, Amazon, etc. are buying a lot of RAM right now. This is where I see most people stop and draw their conclusions. The big meanie AI companies that everyone likes to dunk on buys all the RAM, and now I can't build a new Roblox machine. But I think that's kind of short-sighted to just stop right there, because this is just symptomatic of a much larger problem. Let's zoom out a bit here. The production of RAM is highly concentrated. There are 3 major players in the RAM business: Samsung, SKHynix, and Micron. Wait, what's that? Oh, sorry. Micron just left this week. They decided to exit the consumer space altogether. So say goodbye to the crucial brand of RAM for consumer PCs. And if you're an American, this should sting extra hard because they were propped up by your tax dollars. So congrats, I guess. It's not my money, but must suck for you if you're in the US. Just like the crypto mining boom or the pandemic lockdowns, there's always going to be events that come along and dramatically increase demand of certain technologies. It's how easily scaling production is that will make or break price stability. Obviously, one of you is inevitably going to write a comment along the lines of, well, it's simple economics of supply and demand, which, yeah, man, but the degree to which electronics are affected is a little unlike other industries. I've never gone to the gas station only to discover it shot to $10 a liter overnight just because the oil supply changed. If RAM went up 10 or 20% while supply was still ramping up, I wouldn't be making a video about this. The worst part is that we know that even despite the concentration of these behemoths, they can in fact ramp up supply if they want to. They just don't want to. In 2022 and 2023, we enjoyed some incredible RAM pricing because demand spiked during lockdowns and they overcorrected with supply soon after people went back outside. It was great for consumers, but that sting of lost profits taught them a lesson to not repeat that mistake. I don't expect much of a will this time around to do that again. Don't get me wrong, they'll have to increase supply somewhat over the next year, but I predict it'll end up mirroring the GPU situation, where they saw that people were willing, for the most part, to just pay the increased costs, so they never truly came back down to earth entirely in the end. RAM is not like GPUs either. We don't need the most sophisticated machines produced by ASML, operated in Taiwan by TSMC in order to produce it. We could, in theory, have more competition in this space, and I think that it would be prudent to do so, especially from the West, when it's all made over in the East. We should probably, do something about this. Like everybody's so focused on chips like Intel's fabs in the US and bringing that manufacturing back here for national security's sake, which is all fine and dandy. There's their own issues with that too, obviously. Maybe I'll make a video on that at some point. But RAM is a little bit easier to do. So I just think that maybe things shouldn't be so highly concentrated. And yeah, it sucks that like OpenAI is buying all the RAM, but is it really their fault when it's basically just an oligopoly? Like no single company should be able to, or group of companies, I suppose, should be able to just go, oopsie, we bought it all. Like we got to scale a bit more nimbly, in my opinion, even if it's not in the best interest of these three, or I guess two now, super big manufacturers that hold all the cards. And don't get me wrong, there are smaller RAM manufacturers in like China and whatnot, but they, for the most part, we're stuck with the big boys. So yeah. Merry Christmas, everyone. To those of you who have made it this far, thank you so much. I know I go dark from time to time, but I'm going to try to be a bit more consistent on YouTube in 2026. So if you've stuck with me over the years, I can't thank you enough. It means a ton to me. The 3,000 subscriber game room tour is absolutely still coming. Thank you so much. And you can expect that in January. Until next time, thanks for watching.